I really feel like I am reintroducing myself to all of you. So this really is kind of a reintroduction, and all of this kind of came about mainly because I have done a lot of thinking, not just like recently, but over the past few years. But I think for me, it's really solidified because I am approaching my 30th birthday. Literally in just a few days, I will be turning 30 years old. But on and off for the past few years, I have been thinking about changing the nickname that I go by. So I just wanted to say, hi everybody, my name is Alex, and my new channel name is Novels with Alex. So my full name is actually Alexandra, and for the first like 14 years of my life, I went by Alex. I was always Alex, everybody called me Alex, and that's just how I introduced myself. And then I moved in the 8th grade, like in the middle of 8th grade, and I decided to kind of do a little bit of reinvention and decided to go by Allie. Before that, I had been doing Taekwondo, and at Taekwondo, they called me Allie. And I was like totally fine with that. Taekwondo, I'm Allie. At school, I'm Alex. But then moving, it was just like a lot of change, and I felt like going by Allie would kind of give me a chance to start over fresh. And so ever since I was about 14, I have been referred to as Allie. And I really, for the first like maybe decade of using that name, I really identified with it, and it felt right. It felt normal and natural. But I feel like ever since I turned 25 and for the last few years, I have been really feeling the desire to go back to Alex. I think I've tweeted about this a few times, being like, maybe I will start going by Alex, I'm not really sure. And every time I just kind of like talked myself out of it because I just didn't feel like I was ready. And it is such a big change, especially with having a YouTube channel and social media accounts and stuff like that. I've already figured out how difficult it is to start going by a completely, not like a completely different name, but just like a different nickname, because I've had to change like every handle on every social media account. I've had to email a bunch of people being like, hey, this is a change and you might need to update your database or whatever. So it's kind of been just as difficult as I expected it to be, but even more so. Like there are some things I just like didn't really realize would be kind of a challenge. But turning 30 is such a milestone that I just felt like let's put a different foot forward going into 30, going into like this uncharted territory for me. I have just felt a lot of mixed emotions about turning 30. There are so many milestones I feel like I haven't hit yet, and I know that like everybody is different. Everybody hits these milestones at different times in their life. Everybody has a different path in their life, and that I can completely understand and accept. But just when it comes to my goals and the things that I want out of life, it just feels like I am so behind. And I'm the type of person, like, you know how like some people have fight or flight? I have freeze. I have complete, like, I almost don't even freeze. It's like playing dead. And so I just felt like, you know, maybe if I push the change, if I create the change, then maybe it will kind of jumpstart other changes in my life. And honestly, there has been just like a lot of changes like all together. I feel like this is kind of like a life update video, and me just like sitting here with you and talking person to person and going through just like all of these updates that I have, or just like all of these things that have been going on in my life that I haven't really felt comfortable talking about up until this point, because I don't know, like there's just been kind of a block for me, honestly, especially creatively. I felt like there's been such a huge block. And I feel like whenever I make vlogs or any type of video, I don't feel like I am letting my personality through, and I don't feel like I'm being super genuine and super like honest. Not that I'm lying or not that I'm trying to be somebody else. There's like a part of me that hasn't felt comfortable being vulnerable and like talking about the things that I am currently going through. So I felt like this would be a great jumping off point and maybe a bit of a way to kind of open myself up a bit more like I used to. I felt like a few years ago I was so much more authentic and vulnerable on this channel, on social media in general. But I feel like over the years, as social media has kind of become more and more toxic, especially in my life, it's been harder and harder to open up and to feel like I can just be myself and not have to put up a wall and like protect who I am as a person, because there's so many people who want to police you, who want to just hate you for no reason, who are just so rude and feel like they can just talk to you in any kind of way they want and not like a person, not in like a humane way. I just feel like people have gotten so much meaner on the internet as the years have gone by, and there's just no shame anymore. There's no shame in being a bully anymore, and that is a big bummer to me because I hate bullies, and I am the type of person who will give you the energy that you give me. You know what I mean? Like, I will always come at people with like genuine, kind energy, but if somebody comes at me with negative energy, that's what you're going to get back in return. That's just the kind of person I am. So it's just been really hard to kind of like constantly have negative energy thrown at me from like every platform and feel like I can be authentic. So yeah, one of the big changes in my life has obviously been my name. I am super excited to go by Alex. I feel like it's going to be a really interesting change, and I don't know how it's going to affect my life going forward, but I'm hoping that it's going to be a good change and bring a lot of like good energy into my life. And honestly, I'm just really excited to like define 30 for myself and not really have other people's like influence over what I think 30 should look like or what I think that 30 should be. Because I feel like so often, especially on the internet, when people tend to like lean younger, it can kind of be like, oh, you're 30, that's it, it's over for you, you're done. But I don't really feel that way, and I don't feel that way about other people who are 30 plus. So I'm like, I'm ready to be 30. I'm ready to like be a different kind of representation of what 30 is, because I don't feel old. I don't feel like I'm done. I don't feel like I am too old to enjoy things, to enjoy life, to have fun, to read books, to enjoy music and stuff like that. And I feel like there is just so much pressure, especially on women who are getting older, on being more serious or settling down or like doing like hitting these certain like life milestones that you would expect from a woman in her 30s. So I'm just kind of excited to like break down some of those expectations, especially for myself, because like I have definitely internalized some of those expectations whether I like it or not. And so there is kind of like a reckoning that I have to do with myself and be like, hey, this is your reality, this is what you're doing, and you just have to embrace it, because, you know, if there's something you want to change, then go change it. But otherwise, this is just what you're doing at the moment, and it can change in a year, it can change in 2 months, it can change in 3 days, you know what I mean? So it's just like kind of like having to come to terms with what my life is like, what other people's lives are like, and how they're different, and how that is totally okay. Okay, so like another life update. This one kind of comes with a bit of a content warning, so if you want to skip ahead, I will put like the timestamp of when you can skip ahead if you do not want to hear about this, because I'm going to be talking about weight, working out, stuff like that. If any of that is a trigger to you, or if just like you just don't really want to hear about it, that is totally fine. I totally respect that, and you can jump ahead, or if you're done, see you later. But yeah, I just really wanted to talk about this, and it's something that I've kind of been a little bit scared to talk about because I wasn't exactly sure how I wanted to approach it and how I wanted to talk about it on my channel and where it kind of fit in with everything, you know what I mean? As a lot of you know, if you follow me on like Instagram or Twitter, Threads, whatever, I have been going to the gym regularly, like nearly every day, since last year in around like February, I want to say. No, March. It's the beginning of March. I started going to the gym last year at the beginning of March because in February of that year, I had a really bad reaction to some birth control that I was taking, and I went through a week of hell, like true hell, literal hell. If you didn't know, I have PCOS. I've been diagnosed with PCOS since I was, I want to say 20. So it's been almost 10 years. And for the most part, the way that I have managed my PCOS has been through birth control. And that's been fine. I usually, for like the first 9 years, I had never had a bad reaction. I think there might have been one time when I was like maybe 22-ish, where I'd had kind of a weird reaction to a new birth control I was taking, but after a few days it like was totally fine and I felt normal again. So I just like kind of like never thought about it until last year when I got a new prescription for a different birth control and I started taking it, and literally about 2 or 3 weeks in, I think I was at about the 4th week mark of taking it, I had some of the worst periods that I had ever had in my entire life. It was debilitating. It was terrible. It was a nightmare. And not to like be TMI or anything, but I was going through pads like once an hour. I like got to like the 4th or 5th day mark of being like, I can't take this anymore. If this goes on for like a few more days, I am going to go to the ER, and I really didn't want to do that. So I kind of gave it a couple more days and I ended up being fine. But after that nightmare week, I stopped taking birth control completely. And after that, I just felt like so lethargic, so tired. I remember we ended up going to downtown Ventura like a week or so after that, and I was getting winded like half a block in, and that had never happened before. I've always been like pretty athletic, pretty like, I have like pretty good endurance. I can walk for a long time, like regardless of what weight I am, what you know, how much I've been working out, how little I've been working, whatever. I'm usually a pretty good walker. I don't really get winded very often, but I was like genuinely out of breath within half a block. And I was just like, I could barely remember that trip because like I was just so out of it. And I remember after that day, I was like, you know what? We are going to the gym. We are not taking birth control at this moment. We are going to the gym. And that was really the only change I made, was just working out more. I wasn't changing my diet or anything. I wasn't like doing any more like big lifestyle changes. I really just wanted to focus on getting stronger and building up my endurance and becoming more of like the active person that I had been before, especially before COVID. Like I feel like once COVID hit, it was a lot harder to stay active, mainly because I wasn't going out as much and I like wasn't going on campus, or like I wasn't going into work or whatever. And so it was like really hard to kind of keep up that activity level. And then once lockdown and all that kind of stuff was over, I just kind of never went back to the way it was before. And so for the past year, up until around December, I was going to the gym regularly and I absolutely love it. I love going to the gym. I love going on the treadmill. I love lifting weights. I love all of that. It's so much fun. And I really feel like it has completely revolutionized my life. And then around the midpoint of January of this year, I decided that I wanted to try to intentionally lose weight. And this was a really hard decision for me to make because I have gone through a lot of disordered eating habits in the past. And so for basically a decade, I was like, I am not doing any sort of diet. I'm not like intentionally losing weight, nothing. I needed quite a few years to just kind of like rebuild my mentality and heal emotionally from the trauma that I put myself through in high school, early college, because I just could not even really trust myself to try intentionally losing weight without going into the disordered habits that I'd gone through before. So I feel like it was around like 20, 21 years old, I started to really get into body positivity, body neutrality, fat acceptance, stuff like that. And I cannot be more grateful to that period of my life. And honestly, it's continuous. It's not stopping. It's not going anywhere. I hate when I see these influencers who were like in the plus size community, in the fat acceptance community, in the body positivity community, who make the decision, the personal decision to intentionally lose weight, and then immediately are like, I never believed in body positivity. I never believed in fat acceptance. I actually think that those are both bad things, and I would never now support those things, and I think that they're evil and whatever. I can't believe that. Like, that's insane. That's actual insanity to have duped your followers for so long into believing that you were a good person. Like, that's insane to me. Like, I could never do that. I could never do that because I genuinely truly believe in fat acceptance, body positivity, body neutrality, etc, etc, etc. Like, I fully 100% support that, and I always will. Like, that's not changing just because I've decided to intentionally lose weight. That's wild. That's so out of the realm of just like common decency. I can't understand that. And I really feel like, personally, as somebody who has gone through an eating disorder, somebody who's gone through that kind of trauma, being in the body positivity community, being a supporter and understanding fat liberation and fat acceptance, body neutrality, has really informed the way that I treat my body now while going through intentional weight loss. I don't think I could do it without body positivity. I couldn't do it without fat liberation. There's no way I would have been able to do this in a healthy and positive way if I didn't learn to love the body that I'm already currently in. You know what I mean? That's why I don't understand it. Because that's why I have to assume that you rejecting this now that you're losing weight means that you're probably not doing it in a healthy way. You're probably really hating your body, and you're probably really having a lot of like negative emotions towards your body and are trying to punish it now for years of like supporting body positivity. Like, that's what I have to assume. And that's why I can't follow those influencers anymore who have decided to go through intentional weight loss. I had to block a lot of them because for me, I owe all of the confidence that I have, all of the self-love that I have to fat liberation, to body positivity. There's no way that I would be here being normal and like doing things in a healthy and coherent and normal way and making lifestyle changes and not really dieting if it wasn't for that. So I have like all love and support for body positivity, fat liberation. I think that those are so intrinsically tied to other forms of liberation, to anti-racism, to feminism, to etc. Like, there's so many things intertwined with that like, if you throw out fat liberation, you're throwing out anti-racism, you're throwing out feminism, you're throwing out, like, there's so much anti-ableism, you know what I mean? Like, you have to read Fearing the Black Body, you have to listen to Maintenance Phase. Like, I can't reconcile the body positive plus size influencers rejecting that. It's just, it's crazy to me. I could go on an hour-long rant about that, calling out people by name. Thankfully, I have a lot of them blocked. As you can see, it makes me a little bit heated because it's something that I hold really close to my heart, and I really still find very important. And honestly, my intention with this is not to be skinny. It's not to be thin. It's not even to be like in like straight sizes. If that happens, that's totally fine, but that's not my intention. And I don't really want to share like specific goals that I have, because I think that, you know, I kind of take it day by day, honestly, and my goals shift and change and are not ever to be like a size 2. So I don't really want to like share any specific goals, because like if what I say right now could totally change in 2 months. I have no idea what might happen in 2 months. But for right now, I have been doing intentional weight loss, and I'm not going to talk about it a lot on this channel. I just really wanted to talk about it right here because I feel like it's something that I've kind of been keeping from my audience and from you guys. And I really want to be honest about it, and I want to be transparent, but I don't want it to be like the focus of my channel or the focus of my content. It's just a fact. It's just a fact about me and my life. And I feel like it's something that I have kind of been hiding a little bit, and it's felt like a huge wall between me and you. So I really wanted to talk about it, and I hope that you guys are receptive and know that my intentions are pure and that I still really believe in and support wholeheartedly body positivity, body neutrality, fat liberation. It's so important to me, and it will always, always be important to me. You can count on that. I will always be reading books by fat authors. I will always be talking about books by fat authors and about fat characters and being a champion for fat liberation. So I really hope that that comes across plainly in this video. But yeah, I just really wanted to talk about that because it has been kind of a bigger part of my life, and I think it's important to let you guys in, and hopefully that will make this content a bit more transparent, a bit more authentic. I need to take a break. I need to drink my smoothie. But yeah, I feel like it's really obvious now that I am going into my 30th year on this planet with like a very different mindset than I did even in like my 29th birthday. I just feel like there's been a little bit of a vibe shift, and I'm really excited to see what this year holds for me, and what this year holds for my channel, what this year holds for my content. And I'm just really excited to kind of like jump back in with like both feet and be super excited about content creation, and just feel like we have more of an open dialogue. I feel like so much of this has just lifted off my chest, and I finally talked about these things that I've been holding in a little bit. But I hope that you guys have felt like this has been a bit more of like a connection than my videos have been lately, because I just have not felt that creative spark in a long time. And so I knew that to get it back, I would have to be a bit more honest and a bit more transparent. And hopefully I have been able to do that. For my 30th birthday, I am going to be going to Disneyland, and this time I will probably be vlogging it. So I'm super excited. We were actually at Disneyland a few weeks ago for my brother's birthday. He just turned 21. And we did California Adventure and Disneyland. We are kind of like in the zone of the SoCal passes, so we were able to get like major discounts on tickets. So we chose to do 2 of our days back in February, and we saved the 3rd day for my birthday. So I'm super excited, and I actually haven't been to Disneyland for my birthday specifically since I was 17. It's been 13 years, so I'm really excited, and I'm gonna be taking you guys along with me, and we are gonna have a lot of fun. I feel like that's everything I want to talk about for now. I guess if I think of anything, I will have to do another video. Maybe I could do a Q&A too if you guys have any like actual specific questions. You can leave them down below, or maybe I will put like a question box on my Instagram, and you can ask me questions for a future Q&A. I feel like that is everything that I have to talk about. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoy the new channel name. I think that's really exciting. Kind of gives us a little bit of a fresh start. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also, go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, Storygraph, TikTok. All the links are down below, every single link. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye!